a man just comes along and he buys us off a shelf and he plays with us until he thinks we're no longer fun, or he gets us all dirty, right? Then he wants to just throw us away.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of All Things Girl World. Today we're deep diving into the 1996 film A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, a movie that had us all calling Brandi crazy back in the day, but was she really? We're breaking down how Darnell's reckless game playing led to Brandi's breaking point, why I'm actually frustrated with her, and why this movie still sparks debates to this day. Let's talk about it. A Thin Line Between Love and Hate stars Martin Lawrence as Darnell Wright. He's a smooth-talking ladies' man and a business partner at one of the city's hottest nightclubs, Chocolate City. When Darnell crosses paths with the beautiful and mysterious Brandi Webb, played by Lynn Whitfield, he sees her as just another addition to his roster of women. But Brandi isn't like the others. She's a sophisticated, successful realtor with an MBA from Harvard, beautiful, wealthy, and seemingly in complete control of her life. That is, until Darnell's relentless pursuit pulls her into his game. However, what men like Darnell fail to realize is that not everyone is going to want to play your game. In fact, Brandi had a game of her own in mind. Let's talk about Darnell's persistence, because for him, chasing Brandi wasn't about genuine interest. It was about the game. From the moment he met Brandi, she made it very clear that she wasn't interested. When he invited her to Chocolate City, she declined, and yet he still slipped a VIP pass into the window of her limousine. Then, when she finally showed up to the club, not for him by the way, but he assumed she was there because of his invitation, he attempted to buy her a drink. Again, she declined. But Darnell wasn't taking no for an answer. Instead of moving on, he followed her outside, wrote down her license plate number, tracked down where she worked, and showed up unannounced with flowers. And when she rejected him yet again and had him physically removed by security, he still wasn't done. Darnell then had the audacity to pose as a potential buyer for one of her very expensive real estate listings, not because he wanted the home or could even afford it, but because he wanted a date, and lucky for him, Brandi finally said yes. And that's what men like Darnell thrive on, the conquest. It was never about truly wanting Brandi, it was about proving that he could have her. The more she resisted, the more it fueled his ego. And once he got what he wanted, that's when the game was over. Or so he thought.
I would like to mend that broken heart. I invite you to Chocolate City. I want to put you on the VIP.
Chocolate City. Thank you, but no thank you.
I see you came. You see me.
I came to see the club, not you.
Give Miss Lady a glass of champagne.
I don't know what you're selling, but I'm not buying. Michael, take these out. Yes, ma'am. Call security. I want him out now. All right. I don't believe it. What are you doing here?
I'd like to offer to take you to dinner.
Mr. Wright, may I explain something to you? I have an MBA from Harvard. I run my own business. There's nothing that you can buy for me that I can't buy for myself, so don't waste my time.
Now let's talk about the bet. At this point in the movie, Darnell is still chasing after Brandi, but what makes things even worse is when his friends make a bet with him. They bet him that he couldn't sleep with Brandi, and initially, Darnell was all about avoiding bets like that. He wasn't a fan of gambling with women, but as time went on, it seems like he changed his mind. One of the conditions of the bet was to also tell Brandi that he loved her, and Darnell's response, "You know that's our code, never tell them you love them," which in the context of his response, he was obviously talking about women. This scene was really immature to me. Here you have three grown men placing a bet on a woman who was clearly out of all of their leagues. Now, don't get me wrong, Darnell was also doing well for himself, but it's not just about what you have, but how you treat people. Brandi was minding her own business, and here you come making her a pawn in your game that she has no idea she's even a part of. This is just another tactic for Darnell to prove that he can get what he wants regardless of the cost. He's treating Brandi like some prize to be won, not a person to be respected or cared about. It's a game for him, and the stakes are her heart. He's not thinking about the consequences of playing with someone's feelings, he's just trying to win the bet.
I bet you $20 you can't hit that. First of all, I ain't gonna bet on the ladies like that, okay? All right? And you're gonna have to tell me you love them. No, you know that's our code. Never tell me you love them. I'm gonna hit that. You know I am. And when I hit it, first thing I'm gonna do is call you. And all I wanna hear from you is your D. You the man. Hey, remember the bet? Oh, no, you remember the bet.
Now, let's talk about one of the most awkward yet vulnerable moments in the film when Brandi asks Darnell if he loves her. Before we get to that though, let's set the stage. Brandi was afraid of love, afraid of getting hurt again after her previous relationship had shattered her trust. This is why she turned Darnell down so many times. She was protecting her heart, keeping her guard up, and honestly, I get it. When someone's been hurt that deeply, opening up to the possibility of love takes a lot of courage. But after some self reflection and a pep talk, Brandi decides to take a leap. She's going to let herself trust again. She invites Darnell over to her gorgeous Malibu home that overlooks the beach. You see, Brandi is far too sophisticated for Darnell in his games, but she's willing to give him a chance. She wants to have fun and be open to the possibility of something real. During their conversation, Brandi gets vulnerable. She tells Darnell how important it is for her not to get hurt emotionally. She needs reassurance and she asks him point blank if he has feelings for anyone else. Darnell lies. He tells her no, which we know isn't true because he's been holding on to feelings for his childhood sweetheart Mia, played by Regina King. But what really sets the plot in motion was when Brandi asks the question, "Do you love me?" You could see it all over Darnell's face. He knew exactly what he was about to say wasn't just a lie, it was wrong, especially since he didn't feel that way. But Darnell, being the player that he is, went against his quote-unquote code. He told Brandi what she wanted to hear, and she, understandably, accepted that as the truth. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I do think it was a little bit weird for Brandi to ask Darnell this question. In my opinion, they hadn't even been talking that long, and it doesn't seem like they had developed a deep enough connection where love would really make sense. But nonetheless, she asked and he answered. From that point, it was really hard for me to feel bad for anything that happened to Darnell because he knew that what he was doing to Brandi was wrong, yet he still did it. Why wasn't it enough when she told you how important it was for her not to be hurt? Why didn't you take that seriously? It's because you weren't listening. You only cared about what you wanted from her, and you sure paid the price for that. Anywho, after their conversation, Brandi, vulnerable, emotional, and trusting, ended up sleeping with Darnell, believing that he loved her. But here's where things take a darker turn. While they're in bed together, Brandi tells Darnell about her past and how she killed her abusive ex-husband. Now, let that sink in for a second because she's opening up about this dark secret, but Darnell was only concerned with his own satisfaction. He brushes it off, which is absolutely crazy to me because are you not concerned for your own safety? This woman just told you she killed somebody. I would have been out of there because no thank you. As if that wasn't enough, later that night after everything that just went down, Darnell goes downstairs in Brandi's house and calls his friend T, played by Bobby Brown, and brags about winning the bet because he slept with her. To Darnell, it wasn't about love, it was never about Brandi, it was just a game, a conquest to prove that he could have her just like all the other women he played with.
Just a lot of things, please listen to me, in my past that you don't know about, that you don't understand. And I'm scared. I cannot be hurt. It would not be good for me to be hurt. And do you love me?
I love you.
Now, let's talk about how Darnell's inability to juggle two women starts to backfire. Brandi has been letting herself believe there's something real between her and Darnell, but when her birthday rolls around, it becomes clear that Darnell is nowhere near as invested as she is. After spending the day shopping, Brandi lets him take her limo, expecting him to return for dinner later to celebrate her birthday. But Darnell ends up spending the evening and night with his childhood sweetheart Mia, leaving Brandi alone on her special day. This is where we start to see things take a darker turn for Brandi. Her mental health starts to unravel. Feeling abandoned, she tracks down Darnell at Mia's house, leaving half of her birthday cake on the porch with the knife stabbed through it. This scene is key. Darnell, once the smooth player, is now caught between two women, Brandi falling for him while he falls for Mia. His failure to balance both of them is only going to lead to more chaos. And Brandi, she's reaching her breaking point.
I'm gonna do whatever it takes so we can spend all of our time together. Understand? Okay, here's what we'll do. Why don't you take the car, drop me off, go handle your business, and then come back for a candlelight dinner. It's my birthday.
Well, since it's your birthday, brother be back. Yeah, brother be back. I'm ready now.
Think so?
I don't know how to say this.
You don't have to say anything. We had fun while it lasted.
Hey, look, maybe we just be friends, be real cool, real tight like that.
Friends. I like that much better.
That's something that belongs to you.
At this point, Darnell has no idea what he's gotten himself into. He thought Brandi was just another short-term fling, someone he could toss aside once the thrill wore off. But Brandi wasn't just another woman to be added to his rotation, and she definitely wasn't going to let him get away with disrespecting her, especially after everything she had opened up about. At first, it started with small acts of obsession. Brandi showed up at Darnell's house unannounced, pretty much breaking in if you ask me, and decided to fix him breakfast. When he told her to leave, she wasn't taking the hint. That's when Darnell, frustrated and overwhelmed, shoved Brandi into the wall by her wrist. But the look in Brandi's eyes, that was the moment everything changed. The woman who had once been so sophisticated, so composed, had pretty much snapped. Darnell wasn't dealing with a woman in love anymore. He was dealing with someone pushed to the edge, someone who was about to make him pay. Brandi began stalking Darnell. It wasn't long before she made it clear that she wasn't afraid of consequences. Brandi threw a brick through his car windshield, staged her own abuse to get Darnell arrested, and even took this man's car apart in front of the police station. But she wasn't done. Brandi warned Darnell that if he didn't get rid of Mia, she would. By now, Darnell finally understood just how serious Brandi's threats were, and honestly, I think he did the right thing by stepping away from Mia to protect her, because at that point, he had no idea how far Brandi was willing to go. On paper, Brandi is the definition of a high-value woman. She's college-educated, wealthy, sophisticated, beautiful, and poised. She carries herself with elegance and grace, and yet somehow she allowed her situation with Darnell to drag her completely out of character. Brandi had everything to lose, and I'm mad she put it all on the line over him. Now, to be fair, Darnell played a huge role in misleading Brandi. He made their relationship seem like it was something deeper than what it really was, and that's on him. But the way that Brandi responded to the situation was not okay, and I do believe she should be held accountable for her actions. She went beyond hurt feelings and heartbreak. She took things to an extreme level. It wasn't just about keying his car or throwing a drink in his face. She set fire to Chocolate City, and when Darnell went to her house to confront her, she hit him over the head with a vase, tied him up, and tried to kill him. Brandi, girl, what is wrong with you? It's clear that Brandi was dealing with some deep-seated emotional and mental health issues that were triggered by Darnell's betrayal. But the sad part is she let her emotions bring her down to a level that a woman of her caliber should never stoop to. Instead of walking away with her dignity, she let Darnell's actions completely unravel her.
You still a man? Man. You know what you are? And I didn't think so. You're a dog. A man just comes along and he buys us off a shelf and he plays with us until he thinks we're no longer fun, or he gets us all dirty, right? Then he wants to just throw us away. And you know what? Let me tell you something, Mr. Player, Mr. Pimp, Mr. Great Daddy. We're tired of being your boy toys.
A thin line between love and hate still sparks debate because of its portrayal of gender dynamics and emotional manipulation. The speech Brandi gave about men playing with women's emotions and women being tired of it really struck a chord with many who watched this film. It's important to remember, though, Brandi wasn't the only one who reacted to Darnell rejecting her. His other women also took their own stand. One slapped him, another slammed the door in his face, and even Mia at one point in the film had reached a breaking point with his BS. Brandi just happened to be the one who reacted the most extremely, which is why she ended up being labeled as the crazy one. Some still view Brandi as the psycho, while others, mainly women, completely understand why she reacted the way she did. Ultimately, it's a reflection of how deeply emotions and betrayal can affect us, especially when we've been led to believe something that wasn't true. What do you think? Was Brandi justified in her actions or did she go too far? And what about Darnell? Do you think that he really deserved the way things turned out, or was he just caught up in his own mess? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. As always, thanks for hanging out, and I will talk to you all in the next video.